Hey, podcast community, Pete Kane here, Podcast Pete and lifestyle coach, certified lifestyle coach. 3 pillars of business freedom. Generate cash flow, generate leads or demand, create cash flow, and build community. We do it through school community. And anytime you can scan the QR code and join our free community to help you get started. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. That's leaning in to freedom. We're going to talk about the 6 freedoms, but before, the rules of the unbreakable. Anything is possible. We talk about the future is bright, not thinking about it, but activating it. That's why joining our school community helps you to activate the journey of freedom. Then when you want to be a freedom builder, there's an option for you where we'll hold you by the hand and help you gain freedom through momentum and flow. Everything is about systems and processes. Can't be about you, and you have to work smarter, not harder. Plenty of people work hard. But if you're working hard doing the wrong thing, you're just going to be disappointed when you get there. Now, we talk about time freedom, wealth, location. And I just had a gentleman, Craig, from Greece, who moved there because he now has the freedom of location, the freedom of time, the freedom to do and build his life in a place he chose. And that was a decision he made 5 years ago. And he activated it by working towards it. But he's arrived, but he's not over. He's continuing to have the environment that he chose to be able to lean in to freedom, lean into generating cash flow. Leads, cash flow, community. Always think of those. And when you want the 6 freedoms, you're going to have health, you're going to have wealth, you're going to have location, travel. Don't wait till you've worked 40 years for a company, and that won't happen anymore, but it used to. Well, I'll travel as soon as I retire. Sometimes that day doesn't come. So build your business around your freedoms that you choose to be important. Don't do it alone. Have somebody coach you, mentor you, be involved in a community of like-minded people to help you, support you, connect you with the right people. That's possible. And that's possible with what I'm going to show you. So let me share my screen here. Hold on. Oops, hit the wrong button. All right, here. Okay. Let me take this off. Let me add this. Okay, hold on here, and it's working. It wasn't working yesterday. Okay. The decision. Let me make sure this is fine here. I think I'm smaller. Yes. Okay. The decision is yours. You do not need a degree. I don't have one. You don't need a title. I don't have one. You only need a decision. My decision was 4 years ago. I was forced to make that decision because the lifestyle that I had up to that point was not honoring my health. Then I had a stroke 4 years ago this Thursday. Things change when you have 49 days to think. And I never had that much time to think. I was always reacting, trying to keep up. And that's not the life that most want. Because if you know there's a choice and you can lean into the freedoms that are possible and you can do it earlier than later, the future is bright. I no longer rent my attitude to circumstances. I own it. I lead it. I am unbreakable. In this sense, we're skewed towards negative. If we don't lean into showing up joyful, we don't lean into feeding us by reading good books, listening to good things, surrounding yourself with good people, it doesn't automatically happen unless you do these things. That's why we help you to discover the potential, the future. And when you can discover the future, it's bright. Okay, here we go. Oh gosh, it's not working now. Holy mackerel. Let me see. I don't know why hold on here. Wait a minute. It was working just a minute ago, and hold on here. Let me do a little bit I'll put this up here. For some reason, I'm going to go back. I'll make it a little bit smaller, and we'll do it from this deck. Okay. The only thing you own, the mind does not remain neutral. If you do not direct it, the world will. Distractions are part of the ever-changing world. So many people are distracted. Do you wake up and check your emails? Do you spend 4 hours in front of the TV? Do you scroll 2.5 hours of TikTok videos? Are you distracted because you don't have a brighter future for yourself? That's what we help you do in our community. Complete control only means you can control what you think about. And if you are not directing it in the right direction, it's going to gravitate to news and things that are going on in the country and around the world in your environment. That's why you have people yelling and screaming at each other, because they haven't taken mental showers. Maybe they've taken the physical showers, but they've forgotten about the mental shower. Okay. The North Star defines this of purpose. If you don't have purpose in what you're doing, easy to get distracted. We always talk about, are you on the busy bus or the purpose plane? Purpose plane is quiet. It goes to a destination, and you have to buy a ticket to get there. If you buy a bus ticket, it's going to stop at 100 stops, depending on how far you're going. It's going to be noisy, and it's not going to get there that fast. So what you have to do, get on that purpose plane, helping you define your purpose. Purpose is not this grandiose thing. Purpose can be showing up for a conversation, being present, putting the priorities of your life. To go to the gym. When I wake up, I do the same thing over and over again. I drink my water. I think. I read. I journal. Then I plan and implement. I don't go into the day just seeing what the day will bring, because there'll be plenty of distractions. Always are, unless you create your life, your day. Creating your day helps you to work towards that purpose, because the flow and momentum that comes out of it is what the joy it is. Plenty of us work hard, then all of a sudden we're 65 and we go, what the heck did I spend 40 years doing? Just because I didn't think, I just reacted to what was going on. That's why the average person in the US is watching 4 hours of TV and scrolling 2.5 hours of TikTok videos. Consumption is real. Do you want to consume others' lives, or do you want to create your life? We're born to create, but if we're not making those decisions and we're consuming others, we won't find the fulfillment and the purpose of what's possible. What do you want so badly that you're willing to suffer, be misunderstood, and stand alone to achieve it? The drifter is always in the devil's control of distraction. The master knows exactly what he wants. So either you want what you want, or the world will tell you. And I think you want to be creating your life. That's the community we're building. That's why I've done 300 and 400 podcasts, to get to know people, to know how to connect them, to create a digital asset, to be able to have 30 minutes of undivided attention with a person to know how I can serve them. People will always ask, why do you do so many podcasts? I get to know them. I get to connect them. I get to show them what's possible. Because in a day of attention and trust, I can have a half hour with somebody and I can get a good idea of who the person is. So when I'm connecting them to people that they want to meet, I know them. And we use school. So if you scan the QR code above my head for free, you can join our community. Then when you're ready to be a freedom builder, we go on a 30-day sprint where we help you get on that fast track to get momentum, to get flow. Because when you get momentum and flow, you start making serious changes towards your freedoms. Cosmic housekeeping, evicting the evaders. The evicted evaders are those negative things. What if I fail? Or what if I succeed? Two different questions. One gives you an answer that can honor your future. The other will hold you back. So the questions you ask yourself mean something. If you tolerate them, they will eat your purpose from the inside. Because when you don't push forward with your purpose, with doing the things that honor your future, create your future, then your default will be consume other people's lives. And that's easy to do if you don't separate consumption from creating. Consuming 4 hours of TV, scrolling 2.5 hours of TikTok videos is consumption. Creating is doing what we're doing right here. We help our community create. We help our community with the high performance habits mastery. 12. The high performance habits are clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. And we go beyond that into the mastery stage, a persuasion, physiology, psychology, purpose mastery, all to help you transform into a brighter future for yourself, your family, and your community. The protocol: stop fear and doubt like you thought a criminal's at the door. You have to stop that thought. What if I fail? What if I succeed? Different question. So if you let that be your prominent thought, you won't move forward. You won't get out of that comfort zone. You won't create your life because you're thinking of what happens if I fail. Failure is just lessons. The sooner you can fail and learn, the better. And with all the things that are going on in our world, AI changing things as we speak fast, you can't afford to just say, I'll get to it whenever. Because whenever will fly by you so fast. And if you're not leaning into creating your life, you'll default to consuming others. Replace the invader immediately with the voice of power. I always talk to myself. I do it in a sense that I have to hear it. I have to feel it. So I'm always talking to myself. Very seldom the first thing I say to a person is the first time I've spoken. I'm always talking to myself to hear that. We have 12 to 60,000 thoughts that go through our head every day. And when we have that many thoughts, you got to talk it through. I journal every single day, usually several times during the day, to get my thoughts out, to get clearer on my creative part of my journey. Time, location, travel, wealth, health, and creative freedoms, all built on personal development. We use Growth Day because it's the biggest and best community in the world, led by Brendan Bouchard and a team of coaches and teachers who are phenomenal at helping you to have a brighter future of yourself. Because if you can't see yourself having a brighter future, you'll fall into consumption. You'll fall into being critical. You'll fall into being negative. When you have a choice that you can make each day, how am I going to start my day? How am I going to show up for a meeting? How am I going to bring joy into the meeting? That's a choice you make. And when you make the right choices, the outcomes are better. The hammer of repetition and autosuggestion. I'm a big habit person. I always try to form the habit. I have no problem going to the gym because my routine is this. I use a framework like the Atomic Habits by James Clear. So when I go to the gym, I'm meditating on the bike. I am learning specifically on purpose what I want to learn. And it's a time of getting the body moving, exercising, getting that heart rate up. I don't walk like most people do the 10,000 steps. For me, having had a stroke 4 years ago, I have to think about every step I take. So if I did 10,000 steps a day, I'd be mentally drained. And I have to be generating the energy so I can think, I can meditate, I can learn, and I can get my body moving. Movement is medicine. Get your body moving. When you do, the energy gets generated. And that's why I can go to the gym anytime. It doesn't have to be early in the morning. Doesn't have to be anytime. I look at my schedule, my content week, what I'm doing, and I put the gym in each one. Now, Wednesday, I go to the OTPT. So that's from 2 to 4. But the reason all the other 6 days, I select the time to go to generate more energy, because I'll create the content, I'll write, I'll journal, I'll do all the things, make phone calls. I love connecting with people. Every afternoon, in between podcasts, I'll call people because there's energy in relationships where you can actually talk to people. A lot of people may text, they may send an email. There's nothing better than talking to people, having a meaningful conversation. And when you do, you generate a level of energy that is addicting in a good way. All right. You become what you repeatedly do. You believe what you repeatedly say. So if you're the person that's complaining, and you'll get in a rhythm of complaining. If you're a person that watches the news every day, you'll become a person that's critical of the world. I don't, whatever's important, it'll eventually come back to me. Don't do social media. I have very little sugar. I drink water. I hydrate. So I look for habits that will honor a better future, that will feed my journey in a more positive way. And when you do that, you feel good. And every single day, I do the 5 to Thrive and Growth Day. So I start the day off with the fuel to my rocket. It's the engine that gets my day going. And I do that every day. So we take showers to be physically clean. But what are you doing to be mentally clean, mentally sharp, keeping that brain? We've always heard we only use 5% of our brain. Well, maybe we need to use more of it. Maybe we need to have more critical thinking instead of consumption. Because if you're consuming other people's lives, you can't create your life. And we were born to create. So create a brighter future for yourself. Surround yourself with good people in our school community. Generate leads, demand for your business. Create cash flow. And when you do those three, you got a winning combination for a brighter future. All right, let me go on to here. Hold on here. It's not, let me see. Nope, still not working. Okay. Discipline is the bridge between thought and reality. So could I skip one day of gym? Yes. But if I do 2 days, it might be 3. Then it could be 4. Then it could be 5. So I don't look at willpower as being my driving force. I look of stacking things on top of each other to create the output that I want. And when I create the gym experience, I look at stacking things. I can't wait to meditate, close my eyes, and I listen intently on what I have designed to listen to. A lot of time it's Notebook LM audio podcasts. I can put it on 2x speed because it's 2 people talking about a topic. My brain connects with it in a more meaningful way. But you got to test these things. We help you in our school community to discover a faster way of learning, not just consuming content. There's a big difference. How are you applying what you're learning? Because all the information in the world will not get you anywhere. It's what do you apply to your life? What's your life look like? What do you have designed for your life so your distractions don't take you in a direction that doesn't honor a brighter future? Like sleeping, rising, scrolling, reading. I was never a good reader. I was in the remedial reader class. Being dyslexic, it wasn't my thing that I enjoyed. Now I love it. I'll do a summary in AI, the 10 points. Then I'll listen to it in audio, a discussion. So my brain now is prepared. And then I use physical books to read because it's known to rewire. Your eyes are the gateway to your brain. So if you're reading a physical book, there's advantages to that versus a digital kind of read, an ebook kind of read. It's not how much information you bring in, it's how are you going to apply that to your creative plan. And that's why I read morning and night. My default is reading. And I just don't read arbitrary books. I read books that will help me get better. Now, some of us read for entertainment, but you understand that that's entertainment. When you read the type of books, understand the difference. Is it to entertain me or to make me better? And there's 2 different paths. So understand what you're reading. What's the outcome of that time you're putting in? Because we only have 24 hours every day. How you use it to create your life matters. Okay. The man who cannot govern himself is a slave to the world designed for kings. The kings are people that are creating their life, not kings like you think of kings. Creators. Creators. Create your life. And then when you do, let me see if I can get down here one more. Transmutation, the seed of benefit. Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Had a gentleman on my podcast about a year ago. Christian talked about PTSD. Okay. He grew up in a concentration camp in Russia at age 5. Not your typical growing up at age 5 in that kind of school system. But what it taught him was this, PTSD, the growth that he got from that experience. Adversity can help us grow. We can be bitter or better. If you choose better, you'll have a brighter future. If you choose to be bitter, which you can, that's not going to honor much besides a person that nobody wants to be around, because bitter people are not like magnets to people. People that are striving for a better life, striving to serve, striving to make a difference, make an impact. People want to be around you when you do that. You're never a victim of your circumstances. You're only a victim of your responses. Storm does not stop. You learn to walk through the storm. Keep walking through it. Learn from it. Keep walking. Don't let it settle you down. Okay. Cut off the mental affection. Let me see. I just moved it here. Maybe this works. Yes, it does. Oh, good. For some reason, it must be my computer. Cut off the mental infection. Environment is stronger than will. That's why we want you to be part of a community of freedom builders. People striving for freedom, time freedom, health freedom, wealth freedom, travel, location, creative. Those are the 6 freedoms built on personal growth. When you're growing, your business won't grow beyond your ability. You have to grow yourself first, then your business will grow. The environment is stronger than your will. There's no such thing as willpower. Willpower is a myth. If you're based everything on willpower, there's going to be times you won't have it. So you got to look for things that you can do to create a brighter future. And it involves things that aren't dependent on willpower, because it's just, that's a recipe for disaster. Ignore the mockers addicted to mediocrity. If you spend time in darkness, do not expect your mind to shine. If you spend time in darkness, negative thoughts, distraction, do not expect your mind to shine. Bring the joy, show up, have meaningful purpose, have a plan for your day, have a plan for your week, be able to score yourself. Do the things that we do in Growth Day every single day, because you gain momentum and you gain flow, and you're building systems and processes to feed that. The rules of the unbreakable. Act as if it were impossible to fail. You've heard the saying, burn the boats. There's a lot of truth to that. When you think you'll fail, your mind will go, what if I fail? What if you succeed? What if this works? So you have a choice. The choice is yours. When you remove the option of defeat, you no longer hesitate. You command. The decision is yours. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. You do not need a degree. You do not need a title. You don't need a decision. You no longer rent my attitude to circumstances. You own it, you lead it, and I'm unbreakable. So, what's the next step? Join our freedom community. Go to pkane.me/score, or you can scan the QR code. If you feel that a clarity session is important, because you have to be clear what's holding you back. Let me put up here clarity. Okay, just change the QR code. So if you want to book a clarity session, it's free. And I'll help you to look at where you are, and we'll help you work through whatever's getting you stuck. Are you creating enough demand? Do you have all the leads you need? Because if you're not creating demand, you won't create cash flow. And if you don't create cash flow, you won't have a thriving business and community. So it goes back to generating demand/leads, creating cash flow, and building communities. Healthy business, healthy communities. Okay, my name is Pete Kane. Be bold,